Hi, this is Wayne Mansfield. Welcome back. I've got some great books for you to consider reading over the holiday break, or if you're watching this during the year, obviously just to get your reading up to speed. So there's four, I'll just grab them for you. So here are the four, and then I'll give you a bit of a summary of each one. The first one is by Guy Kawasaki, and it's called The Art of the Start, about how to get going with business. The second one is by Peter Miller. It's called The Smart Swarm, which is about social media. Really clever book. I'll tell you a bit more about that in a sec. The third book that I'm recommending is by the authors of Freakonomics, and this one's called Super Freakonomics, and it's about the relationship between economics and what actually happens in the real world. So some really interesting stuff. But why I'm recommending this one is that it is an illustrated version of Freakonomics, so it's really, really clever. So we'll be back to that in a minute. And then it's about business, but it could be fiction. It obviously isn't. It's non-fiction. It's the life of Bernie Ecclestone, who started F1, the high-speed car racing circuit that goes around the world, and it's really like a movie script, but it's business too, so to have a look at that, you'll be great. Okay, let's get into it. The first book that you should seriously have a look at is The Art of the Start by Guy Kawasaki. If you haven't heard of him, it's not Robert Kiyosaki, who is the guy who talks about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Guy got his claim to fame by being the designer for Apple at about the time of the Macintosh. And since then, and if you hear him speak, he will say he had one good year and it's kept him going for the next 20 because he sold his Apple shares and became a multi-millionaire. Now, this particular book is absolutely fantastic for anybody who's starting business. It has bullet points. If any page that you open up, I'll just pull it for here, and I've got page 115, and it's got suggested questions if you're doing a reference check. If you open another page up, it will have the investor pitch, how to do that. So it's absolutely fantastic. But it really is also an example of what's now called crowdsourcing. So when a guy was looking for the cover for his book, he created a competition, and in that competition he asked people to submit what they thought a cover would look like. And out of the best 400 or 500, he chose 70, which became one. But have a look at this. Here on the inside cover, I'm making this hard for Lauren who's doing this video, but here on the inside cover is an example of all the covers that didn't quite make it. And in my opinion, any one of these would have been good enough for a cover for the book. Okay, let's have a look at book number 2 on my suggested reading list. This is by Peter Miller, who I can't recall reading anything else of his, but it's called The Smart Swarm. Understanding flocks, schools and colonies can make us better at communicating, decision making and getting things done. Which, in another way of saying, the internet has given us access to the crowd through smart media and through social media, and what this book does is have a look at how you can use that for your business. I highly recommend it. Some of it's a bit hard going, but when you find a particular place that you like for your business, stop, make notes, and I'm sure that you will reap the benefits in 2013 by reading The Smart Swarm by Peter Miller. Book number 3 in my list is by Levitz and Dubner, Stephen Dubner and Stephen Levitz. One is a journalist and the other is an economic professor at a university in the US. Two young guys who look at everything and what the consequences of decisions are. So in their first book called Freakonomics, there is a particular couple of subjects that I love. It talks about who would be most likely to cheat, and then it uses the stats to prove the outcome of that. So the 3 questions are: who would be the most likely to cheat? Sumo wrestlers, teachers, or students? Now, surprising, the outcome of those questions is that sumo wrestlers are known to cheat when the Grand Master is in decline. The young sumo wrestlers come to him and say, look, it's your time to retire and we'll let you retire a winner. So the young guys cheat to let the master win as long as he wins and retires with grace. Can you imagine that happening in our heavyweight boxing? They go until the champion gets beaten into a pulp. The second group of people who cheat are students. Now, the students cheat nearly only related to peer pressure. So we think that they cheat a lot, but unless there is a culture of cheating within a group of students, it doesn't happen as much as we would think. But the clear standout winner as institutionalised and systematic cheating are teachers. And how this shows up is that teachers like to be judged by how well their students go. So a good lot of students gives good scores and the teacher gets a pat on the back. And the research shows that that effect of the teacher either marking soft or giving easy questions lasts for about 18 months, and then the students revert to where they would normally be. So it's possible by looking 18 months forward on a student's academic record and being able to pick the teachers that cheated so the teachers got the accolades. Now, Super Freakonomics, this particular book is a great coffee table book. It's beautifully illustrated, looks at hundreds of other examples in regard to what happens when we make a particular decision, the unexpected consequences, the real results. And so I highly recommend it to you. You'll understand business a lot better. So that's Super Freakonomics by Stephen Levitz and Stephen Dubner. Now, if you're looking for a bit of light reading, this is a business book. It is a biography of Bernie Ecclestone. Now, Bernie created and runs, as his fiefdom, the F1 motor racing circuit. And this book, it's a fantastic read. At sometimes you wonder if they couldn't have just, this can't be real, they have to make this stuff up. But it's really interesting, and I've often been told that big business is small business with some noughts added. Well, super business, the business of the likes of Bernie Ecclestone and Richard Branson, those sorts of guys, what they do is they don't add a couple of noughts, they normally add 5 or 6. So where we talk in hundreds of thousands, they talk in tens of millions or billions of dollars. So the story, The Secret Life of Bernie Ecclestone, great little read. I highly recommend it. If you're struggling to knock over those 4 books, because you know that most people in their adult life never read 4 non-fiction books a year. So during the next 12 months, we will run twice our Power Read Speed Reading for Business course, where in 3.5 hours I can take you from an average reader, which tends to be about 200 words a minute, through to a super quick reader, which will be 1,000 words plus. So look out for that in your email over the next couple of months. I look forward to seeing you at Power Read, but in the meantime, I hope you enjoy those books that I've set out for you to read. So this is Wayne Mansfield. Until next time, enjoy reading.